Great. Well, welcome everybody. I appreciate you guys taking some time. My name is Ali Mujib. This is the Lead with Meaning podcast. I'm excited to have this conversation today. So just kind of kick things off and form an introduction. For those that don't know, one of the top LinkedIn top voices. It has been recognized. As a thought leader in the inside sales space for quite a while now. The creator of SDR Chronicles, now running over 139 shows, recently, so it continues to grow and grow and grow. An avid reader. For those that don't know, also a professional Halo gamer. A sports agent. We're glad that he didn't. The brand building pioneer, the man, the myth, the legend, Morgan J. Ingram. Excited to have you here today, man.
What's going on, everybody? That's like a fireworks worthy intro right there. You need to start doing my intros from now on.
I failed to mention that you're also like top 5 Periscope, right? I don't know if you still have your gaming group.
Wow. Okay. I'm already loving this already. Yes. I was at one point.
Great, man. Well, I'm excited to have you on. I know you and I have been thinking about doing this for a little while now, obviously with schedules, my schedule, your schedule, you're all over the map, so I appreciate you taking the time. And really my intention in having these conversations is, there's a lot of people, we're seeing a lot of content on LinkedIn. And I think what's really missing is, that innate, inner Olympian quality characteristics that people have that they're implementing, not just in their professional lives, in their social lives, in their personal lives, in their relationships. And, Morgan, man, for you, just to kind of tap right into things, and one of the things you and I had talked about a while ago was you starting to build your voice as the lead farmer. And I want you to tell me about kind of at the very beginning, taking it way, way back, you realizing you had this innate quality to have a voice be heard and to be informed. Tell me about that.
All right, so lead farmer. So to give you guys context of what Ali's talking about, most people actually do not know this, so I'm laughing so hard. So back in elementary school and middle school, every single play that we had, I was always the lead act, always. And I was always chosen for it every single time. Like no debate, no anything, I was always chosen. So in every single play, there was like a lead farmer or like maybe it was like an astronaut or whatever, but lead farmer, we normally did farmer. I don't know why we did farming plays, but that was mostly it. And the reason I could do that, one, is just naturally I had an ability for stage presence. That's the reason why they told me they always picked me. 2, I have a really good memory and I could memorize lines. And then 3, I could interact with those lines and not make it feel like it was programmatic. And so, I was the lead farmer or lead act in most of the school plays that we had. And that's what really started off, I believe, that stage presence. But at the time, I had no idea what that was. I just did it because, hey, I can remember lines. It's cool to be the lead play. Everybody likes you. So why not do that? So, right. But looking back on it, I believe that really was the catalyst that Ali's talking about here to begin that journey of building brand, voice, and things of that nature.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Well, I know you're an avid learner. I mean, one of the things in me preparing for this conversation, I was excited to hear that, kind of the one super skill you said you wish that you could implement or harness or pass on to others is just being kind of a learning junkie, right? Somebody that's obsessed with learning. And I'm the same way. I think a lot of us are. And one thing that really tied into me was Yogananda. And, the only book, if in Steve Jobs, iPad, was the autobiography of the Yogi by Yogananda. And one of the things he states there is that we all sign up for certain lessons. In that lesson, you're going to master it, or you're going to face it and you're going to face it. So when you and I chatted, my first question to you was, how early were you looking to build your voice? So that was something that was cool. I wanted to bring up here today. Yeah. Another thing, man, was SDR Chronicles. I know for you, there's 2 people when you and I spoke that really pushed you, and I want to definitely touch on those today. One is building kind of a social presence in a brand. I know that's a hot topic today, but even hotter for you because it's something that you were doing for a very long time. And the second was, kind of what triggered you to initially get started with that. So if I remember correctly, Gary Vee kind of put out a challenge to you. Maybe you could share that story a little bit.
Yeah. So I believe in this a lot, and you guys may have heard this before. You may have not heard this before, but it's when the student is ready, the master appears.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So I'm going to break that down. So essentially what that means is in your life, there's always opportunities for you to level up. However, you have to make the decision on whether you're going to do it or not. So what that quote means is like, okay, if I want to learn about, let's say if I want to learn more about building houses, right? And I've made that declaration down. Let's say I got my notebook here where I write down my goals. I write this down. Hey, I want to learn how to build houses. Once I write that down, it goes from the intentional inside and spiritual world, and then it comes into the physical realm because I wrote it down. And so once it's written down, situations will appear that will allow me to build the skill set to build a house. I can choose to reject them or I can choose to take them on. So that example, the reason I'm stating that is because that's what happened to me. So I have been building brand way before that, been doing videos way before that. Periscope you mentioned, I've been doing this type of creating content. So the SDR Chronicles wasn't a new concept to me. I've been making YouTube channels and videos and editing. I've been doing it for a while. So the Gary Vee challenge just put things in a different perspective for me because I finally had something of context that I could truly build off of. Everything before that was just stuff I had read, stuff that I felt, my intuition. I didn't really have anything, to be honest with you, maybe contextualized or even credible to really talk about. I was just talking about things and I could get people excited, to be honest.
Just to pause there for a second, Morgan.
Yeah.
Morgan, maybe you could share that story. Because I know Gary Vee, you were at a conference, and if I remember correctly, he broke it down and he says, X percentage of folks aren't going to listen to anything and so on and so forth. Break that down for us on what that challenge was.
Yeah, so once I was there, right, it was a keynote. I actually was here in Atlanta about 4 years ago, and Gary Vee was like, hey, look, he broke it down at the end, which I was like, I don't think anyone was ready for his breakdown. He was like, all right, guys, look, like at the end of the day, y'all should be building a personal brand. And he said, half you guys won't even do it. Cool, I'm not talking to you guys. This is literally what he said. And I was just like, okay. Then he was like, all right, so majority of you guys in here, probably he said maybe it's like 1,000, 500,000 people. Whatever he said. I don't know the exact numbers. He said, percentage of you guys are actually going to start a brand. You guys do it for like a month, but you guys are going to fall off. Then 100 of you are going to do it for about 5 to 6 months, and then you're going to fall off. Then he said about 40 to 50 of you are probably going to do it after 6 months, like here and there, but you're going to drop off completely. He said 5 or 8 of you are going to be consistent. And then he said only 1 or 2 of you will actually be successful with this. And he said, if you're the 1 or 2 of those people, hit me up. And I just in that moment, because I wrote down I wanted to be a public speaker. I wanted to have influence. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's a challenge. It was like a direct shot to me. That's how I felt. I felt like it was a challenge. And he was in my face saying, you're not going to be able to be the 1 or 2. So I took that and I had a conversation with him after real quick. It was like 2-5 minutes. But that home, man, I went home. I created the YouTube channel. I went on Fiverr. I found a logo. I did the intro. I did the outro. I wrote out the entire game plan for the next month and a half, and I was ready to go. Like, I just came back home just fired up. Like, I was just excited. And everyone was like, are you all right? I'm like, I'm good. But I was locked in. I was like, it's time. So that was the breakdown of that story, and that's what got things moving.
So you've always been motivated, self-driven. You're an athlete. You played basketball before. Obviously, you're a local here to Atlanta. So the Gary Vee challenge was something that stood out to me. The second one was Ralph Barcy. Ralph Barcy, obviously put out something, and he challenged SDRs. He says, hey, you guys, there should be somebody out there leveraging video, talking as an SDR who's been in that seat. For those that don't know, a sales development rep, similar to a business development rep on the front lines in sales, doing a lot of that cold calling and prospecting, kind of top of funnel, type of perspective. And you took that challenge on. And if I remember correctly, on your 100th video, you had Ralph on, and Ralph mentioned you were the only one that actually reached back out to him, right? And then that was kind of the birth of SDR Chronicles, right? So the reason I like to think about this is for somebody who's so driven, why do you think it took you these 2 challenges to kind of get you on the hot seat, so to speak?
Initially, I was weary. And what I mean by that is because I just started in my SDR role. It was my first job out of college. And I truly, at the beginning, I didn't believe that I could just put content out there and it would be received, to be honest with you. Because I was just like, all right, I just started this job. I don't really know that much about sales development. So I'm just going to be talking, and I don't really know who's going to resonate with that. And Gary told me something that made me realize that my thinking was off. He was like, here, look, what you're thinking about is you're trying to create something that based on your experience that people will like. He said, it will go a lot better for you if you think about documenting and just talk about your struggles and the things that you're going through, and then talk about how you become successful through that. He said, people appreciate that documentation more than you creating the perfect product. because as a creator, I always try to think about how can I create it the perfect way. Like that's how I just should think about things, which probably led to not as much success as I should have had maybe in the past, which is fine. So him giving me that mindset during that conversation gave me be like, you know what? Like I need to stop overthinking thinking it, whether it's 4 or 5, 6 months in the role, I have something to share because this is something that someone is going to go through at some point when they start out their SDR role and they're coming out of college, or it's their first job out of college or uni or wherever they're at. And so I took that mindset on, and that's when I felt 100% confident and comfortable in doing the channel. And to me, I never felt bad about producing content. I never felt like, oh man, someone's going to come after me, because at that point it didn't matter, because there's nothing you could really say, because all the stuff that I talk about is stuff that I was doing at that time. So you can't be like, oh, that's false. It's like, no, that's what I did literally yesterday. So the documentation switched in my head. I had to make that, and I never thought of it that way until he broke it down for me. And then I realized, oh, I'm just overthinking this. I just need to produce content because I have something to say, because what I'm saying is providing value for people that may come new to the role. And then as obviously the content evolved, it gave other people perspective on how they can go about their roles.
I think that's important, because I know when you and I talked, and thank you for sharing that story. And it's also amazing to me that you got that job by doing what? Prospecting, cold calling.
Cold calling guy.
I don't know. Morgan literally did his research. He did his due diligence, found out who managed that department. You know, he checked Crunchbase and saw that there was some recent funding going on at Terminus, you know, and he was able to cold call Tony Bennett, who was leading that department at the time, and did an interview, right? So more power to you, man. But, you know, this is a hot topic, because now building a brand, it's catchphrase, right? And I think what you just touched on was value, right? And I think it's really important, whether it's Gary Vee, whether it's, Scaled, and Jake over there, that it's really about building a brand with value, right? Knowing who your audience is, what the message is that you're looking to seek, and even for me, the one thing that I saw that was missing here was that aspect of no longer that 24/7, hustle mentality, but how do we have work-life integration, and how do we tap into something that's bigger than that, So one thing that I was really keen on when you and I spoke was kind of an influence you had based on Napoleon Hill's laws of success. And he talked about kind of putting together, a lot of people know Napoleon Hill is a great author. He's a thought leader for Think and Grow Rich, which really influenced my life. One of the first sales books that I read. And even for me, I've been familiar with mastermind groups and mentorship groups, but I had never read Laws of Success, which you had actually recommended to me. But I want to talk about somebody at your age. You're kind of mid to late 20s, you're still young, but you've been building a networking group, a mastermind group, surrounding yourself with people for quite a while. Tell me about, how that triggered you and that process today and what that looks like.
This is a fantastic question. So there's a lot of different things I want to hit right here. So you can stop me, ask questions, because there's a lot of things that you said that I want to touch on. First and foremost, Napoleon Hill, Law of Success, Think and Grow Rich. A lot of people, you might know this. You might not even know this at all. I found this out because I was just like so deep into research on this. They did not let that book on the shelves back in the day. That book actually
I didn't know that.
It was not allowed to be sold. And the reason for that is because it has so much knowledge in there for you to live your own life that the government at the time did not allow it to get sold, because they didn't want people to go like actually figure out how to live their life. They wanted them to live in the system.
Wow.
Someone told me that. One of my mentors told me that. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. So if you read Think and Grow Rich, you read Law of Success, you have the essential backbone to be successful. All you have to do is do what it says, and you will have the success that you want. I heard that, and that's when I immediately went to the bookstore and bought Law of Success. That's when I bought it. And
so I think of two things before you go in. One is I think of Roger Bannister, right? My wife and I were talking about Roger Bannister. A lot of people may or may not know Roger Bannister was the first man to break the 4-minute mile, right? Back then, when it was broken, I forget the date, everyone thought your heart's going to explode in your chest if you break a mile. Like they literally would think that, and they're like, I'm not going to pass that. And, you know, since then, especially the first year, more than 50 people had broken, you know, the 4-minute mile because of that belief system that was ingrained. So even for you, like you're told, if you read these 2 books, you know, you have the framework, you have this belief system that was there. So
I thought that was crazy. You guys, y'all can fact check me on that one. My mentor told me, and I believe it's insane because it makes sense, because you read the book and you're like, this actually has the knowledge for you to be successful. And so in that, like, he's interviewed obviously successful people. He has the scribes of wisdom. And Think and Go Rich, I think people sometimes read that book and they're like, oh, I'm gonna read it and just be rich. It's like, it's called Think and Grow Rich, not read and be rich, right? So it's like, you gotta think while you get there. And I think at the same time, Law of Success for me was essentially the foundational book for success as a whole. I believe it's actually better than Think and Go Rich. A lot of people can have a conversation with me about that, but I truly believe that book put me in a paradigm shift. And in that, I read about a mastermind group. And so going into this point, I read that, hey, look, it was Rockefeller, I think it was somebody else. I forgot his name. I think it was Edison or something of that nature. They all were in this mastermind. And so essentially what they were doing is, like, Rockefeller had his industry. They also had Ford was in there as well. And so basically they all just came together. They were the top of their industry and they had a mastermind. And so that's how they stayed on top, is they shared best practices and ideas with each other, because they were all at the top. They're like, hey, check this out, do this. And the mastermind is not an accountability group. It is a group where you share energy. So if one person is off, the entire group is off. Mm-hmm. So it's actually very serious. And so I read that and realized, wait, if these people, Ford, I believe Edison had one, Rockefeller, if these individuals who are at the top of the game, they had monopoly, they literally created the law to make sure that there were no more monopolies for these individuals. If they were that successful and they had a mastermind, why would we not have a mastermind as people today? And you're not at that status. You should probably have one. And so I thought about that for a lot. And I feel like I had to grow myself in order to even consider having one. And I now have one. We have, there's 4 of us. And that started at the beginning of this year. And we have fundamentally seen growth, not only on a professional level, but a personal level, a spiritual level. I've grown more as a person through this group. And I've healed myself internally of a lot of things that I was struggling with that I thought I would never be able to come over because of this group. And so it's not everyone has to be massively successful. It's people that can vibe off each other, and their strengths help you solve your weaknesses, and your strengths help solve their weaknesses. And it's important, though, you have the right amount of people. The people in our group, they're actually not from the same field. I don't have everyone who's in sales or public speaking. We have someone who's a personal trainer. We have someone who's doing stuff in the industry like liquor and things of that nature. So he's doing his thing. And then we got someone else who has multiple businesses. So we got like people all over the place in different fields. And that's what makes it awesome. But the most important thing about that mastermind is the energy. We had to actually remove someone from the group, great person, but not good energy for the actual group, because that actually messes our energy up. And that's the most important thing. So yeah, masterminds, I'm really excited about. I'm hype on them. If you don't have one, I would suggest to get one. And this isn't one of those things where it's like a paid, like this is like, we are showing up every Sunday and we do a meeting. This obviously Sunday right now, we didn't do a meeting because we have actually people in multiple locations, which happens sometimes. But every single Sunday, we either try to meet or we have a quick call to assess what we're going to do this week. And then we set standards on those goals, and we make sure that we are continuously growing as humans. So that to me has been a fundamental part of my success this year, and has helped me evolve to a level that I didn't think I would be able to evolve this fast.
No, I love it, man, because, and I'm going to take it back a little bit further, because to me, self-growth, self-awareness, a lot of people, they might have a certain, older advisor that they lean on, but a lot of people don't, or they, like to your point, they're doing it very one-dimensionally, which is strictly business. And to us, we're all encompassing. You're not just your career. Eric Thomas, who I'm a big fan of, he always talks about, anybody could be 100 in one area of their life, but it's about being 100 in every area of your life. Yeah, so one of the things you and I talked about was, because I love that aspect of a mastermind group, and I'm starting to look and evaluate who should be in, because I have a circle of mentors, and I've tried to ensure that those mentors are not one-dimensional. right? So I have mentors that are very faith-based, very family-based, very business-based, very entrepreneur-like. And it's like all encompassing all of those folks I could lean on in different areas of my life. But it wasn't quite formalized in that mastermind way. I want to take it back even further in just mentorship. At what stage in your career and even in your life did you start leaning on people that were a little bit further along in certain areas to start realizing the power and value of mentorship?
16.
Okay. Tell me that story.
So I just got a driver's license, right? So I was just whipping in the car, right? I got an old school Camry. And I went to a private school.
Okay.
And so whatever people in the background, posh boy, yeah, that was me. So I had the school uniform and everything. All right. So I'm always thankful for that, because my parents, they put us in a really good situation so that we could, I don't know if they did this on purpose or accident, but they allowed us to see success. And for me, I always thought that success was handpicked, as in you were born into this family, you now have success. It's just like if you're born poor, you're just poor. Like, you don't have a choice. Like, that's growing up. That's what I thought. I didn't know anything else. Like, we didn't grow up in the best of places. So I just like, all right, this is just where I'm at. I'll just live my life and figure it out. However, when I went to private school and I see people riding around in Benzes and like Porsches and like Lexuses and like back in the day, the Hummers, they don't even sell those anymore. Right? So they're just rolling around in these things and like lifted trucks. I'm like, what is going on? I got like my 1992 Camry. Like, I'm just trying to make it, right? So, and they roll up in Lexus and Benzes and stuff. And so I was like, what is going on? And so that's when I was like, I need to figure out what this is. Like, how are these people successful? And like, why can't I be? Like, what happened, right? So then that's when I started doing research. And so my mom at the time gave me a couple, she just sent me to the library and we would go together, right? And I would just start reading books alongside. And I found this book and my mom was like, you should read this book. And the book was called How to Get Your Dream Job by Pete Lyman. So the first time when I was like 16, that's like when you're junior in high school, I started reading this book. And over time, I was like, maybe I should just start reaching out to individuals. It literally gave you a template of like informational interview, 10, 15 minutes, go reach out to people and start having conversations with them. And I'm naive and I'm 16 and I'm just hungry. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to reach out to people. Like, I have literally nothing to lose. I'm in high school, whatever. So I started reaching out to people because I want to do sports. I started reaching out to athletic directors and I got responses and I got phone calls with them. And so that started my mentorship with I would say, hey, do you want to just mentor me as I'm guiding myself out of high school? And they're like, yeah, I'll do that. So it all started off with athletic directors and people like local in the area. I didn't take it to the next level. Had good conversations. And then I fell off. I didn't keep, and like, this is important for everybody listening, is when you get a mentor, you need to be very diligent as a mentee and not expect the mentor to guide you. You have to guide your mentor on what they can do to help you. They're not going to just pop up and be like, hey, this is everything you need to learn today, Morgan. They're not going to do that. And that's what I thought. Again, 16. I just thought that, hey, I'm a mentor now. They just will come to me when they want to give me advice. It doesn't work like that because they have a lot of knowledge. They don't know how to give it to you, right? So it's not accurate knowledge. It's just sporadic knowledge. And so in 2 years, I had some mentors in and out. I wasn't as diligent. I actually went back to I went to college. Freshman year, I got the book again and I read it again. And then I took it seriously this time. So I was like, all right, I'm going to have 3 to 4 mentors. Everyone else, I'm just going to take notes. And I have a notebook. It's not here at my desk. It's actually over there under my cupboard. And it literally has notes of all these conversations I had. Probably like 50, 60, 70 informational interviews, like stacked throughout college. And so I started reaching out to a lot of people that were in sports, that were CEOs, that were business owners. And I just was reaching out to see, like, what can I do? And so back in the day on LinkedIn, everyone had like their email address you could easily access. So I would type in sports management on LinkedIn and just go invite at mass scale. It was like spamming hard, which obviously I don't tell people to do today, but I was that person. So spam. I'd have a template of informational interview. I'd interview like everybody. I was so diligent. I was getting responses, man. It was awesome. And so freshman year, had a lot of mentors that were in the high school ed situation, sports management, diversity, inclusion, people. I was having really great conversations. Director of sales, ticket sales at the time. I just want to understand everything about sports management. When I got to my junior year, that's when I took it to the next level. So I actually reached out to the owner of the Atlanta Hawks, Bruce Levinson.
Yeah.
I got a response from the owner of the Atlanta Hawks. Like, yep, I'll take 30 minutes of my time.
30 minutes, not even 15.
No, 30 minutes. I freaked out. I was like, no way. Like, I just got the owner of the Atlanta Hawks to respond to me. I'm in college. Why is he responding to me? So I took that conversation and I was just like, why in the world are you on this phone call? This is a complete waste of your time. And he was like, honestly, it's surprising, Morgan. There's not a lot of people who just reach out to me and want advice. Mm-hmm. He said, people want a job, people want money, people want fun stuff, but no one ever reached out like genuinely just wants advice. And so he was like, I don't really get that a lot. And the way that you structured it made me realize that I want to actually take some time to help you. So yeah, million billionaire, had a great conversation with him. And to this day, he used a lot of foundations that he taught me. But yeah, man, I was reaching out to people, general manager of Fox Sports South, like VP of sales at the NBA, general manager down here at the College Sports Hall of Fame. Now he's VP of, I think, franchising at Chick-fil-A. And so I had no fear of reaching out to these individuals. Yeah. Were those meetings, was I nervous in those meetings? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The general manager of Fox Sports South was like, why are you so nervous? I'm like, I'm like 20 years old. Like, and you're like a general manager of Fox Sports South. I was definitely nervous for sure. But over time, I wasn't nervous. I actually was at the College Sports Hall of Fame. And he was like, you're very comfortable in this situation. He was like, yeah, I've had a lot of conversations like these. I've had 50, 60, 70 conversations with people like you. So I'm very comfortable in having these conversations now. Before I wasn't. And so long-winded there, but the whole goal though was that I started my mentorship and seeking advice since I was 16. And ultimately now for the past 10 years now, being 26, that fundamentally has helped me get success. Because at the end of the day, people have the answers, but you have to be willing to drop the ego, drop like, I'm gonna figure it out myself. When people out there are willing to help, and at the same time, if you give them the right things, they'll help you. So now I have 4 mentors that I stay aligned with. I tell them, hey, these are things I'm struggling with, and I stay on top of that, and I'm willing to seek feedback. That's why I have all these sticky notes everywhere, because I'm willing to write down what's the feedback, how can I get better, how can I progress, and that's the most important. So I would encourage everybody today, if there's somebody that you want to reach out to and you want to talk to, there is no barrier to reach them. If I can get the owner of the Atlanta Hawks to respond to me and I still can reach out to him and he responds to me, you can reach out to anyone that you want to. So that's actually one of my goals for this quarter, is to get back into that mode. I've been so execution mode. I haven't really taken the time to just reach out to people and be like, hey, I need some advice. People are willing to help. However, you have to reach out to them in a genuine way for them to help you.
No, it's amazing, man. And thank you for sharing that story, because I think a lot of people don't realize the real power of mentorship and just asking for help, and it's really important. Even with this project for me, I was a little uneasy, and I got to give a shout out to, one of my prospects, Suzanne, who actually really pushed me, because she wasn't even a customer. We went through a sales process, and she really wanted budget with the platform that I was trying to kind of earn her as a customer. And C-level execs, individual meetings, continue to impress her value through every step of the sales cycle, as we talked about. And in the end, kind of offline, we had a conversation. She says, well, what are you doing to get this message out there, right? And when I started to work on this project, you and I had some early stage conversations. I reached out to a lot of, people that, I wasn't that connected with, were all willing to help because they believed in the message and the approach in which I was looking. I wasn't asking for a handout, to your point. I was just asking for input and value, right?
Exactly.
And it's amazing that people do that. So if you don't have a mentor, remember, nobody's in it alone, right? So don't be hesitant to reach out. Reach out to people that you've known your whole life, asking for input, asking for advice. You never know, what's going to come of that, right? So I recently listened to you, Morgan, share kind of like your 3 components for success, and hopefully I get them right. And you mentioned it was talent, hard work, and strategy. Those are 3 things we had talked about. And I initially heard that and it says, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but talent, can be tapped into, let's say. Hard work can be influenced and motivated, and strategy can be learned, right? So if I were to, kind of challenge that focus and say, where does belief fall, and does belief fall above, talent, hard work, and strategy. Because if you don't have this innate belief in yourself or the goal or the intention, however you want to frame that, the rest of those things don't matter. So where does belief and intention fall with talent, hard work, and strategy?
That's a fantastic question. And now that you even say that, I believe that actually is a factor. I believe that because I have a high belief in like, yo, I'm going to do this. I just see it as like, it's already there. Like you can't even consider that as even a factor, because it's an obligation. You have to have that anyways. Like it's such a requirement that I don't even want to mention it. Right. It's like when I post stuff and people like, I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And people are like, number 7, keep dialing. It's like, you should be in a keep dialing mindset always. I don't have to tell you that. So, but if I had to add it in there, absolutely belief has to be there. And for me, a lot of the stuff that I see that led and will continue to lead to my success is belief. I genuinely just believe that when I get into something that, hey, I'm going to do my absolute best and I will make it happen. That's one thing that my parents always said, that whatever you put your mind to, you will be successful. And that always was for me in everything. However, I get easily distracted. And so some things just don't get done. However, if I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm going to do it. And that led to where I'm at today, because out of college, I told my parents, hey guys, I got these 2 degrees and I got a minor. I'm actually not going to do that. And I'm going to go do public speaking. And they were like, what in the world? And I was like, I promise you this will work. Just let me do my thing. And I put my mind to it. And now it's gone to where it's gone. And the only reason for that is because I just have such a belief that I know that things were going to happen. I just didn't know how. I didn't know that John was going to find me on YouTube. I didn't know that the SDR Chronicles.
So I want to kind of,
you know what I'm saying?
100%. I want to pause you for a second, because it oozes out of you, right? And that's the one thing. Like I was kind of preparing for this conversation. One thing I'm trying to do is grasp and harness these systems, in your case, belief, that a lot of folks don't have, right? And Wayne Dyer has passed. He's a motivational speaker. He's an author, and he had this statement: was it is not. I see it and then I believe it. You will see it once you believe it, right? Not you believe it when you see it, right? And so that concept in you is like, how does an individual that has self-doubt, that does not have that belief within themselves, does not have the circle of influence, a healthy family upbringing and things of that nature, they're in it alone. And that's a lot of folks, they don't necessarily have the support system. How do they tap into that belief system within them when there is challenge, when there is going to be circumstance, when their degree and their background is not aligned with this thing inside of them that has doubt?
Absolutely. So I'm going to touch on talent, hard work, strategy. Those 3 things help you get there. If you have the right strategy, you'll be confident. If you work hard, you'll actually get the results you're looking for. And if you're talented in something, you will get there. Talent, obviously, is God-given to a certain degree. Like I have certain God-given talents that allow me to do what I'm doing. I can, like you said, improve and enhance those. However, if I'm just not naturally skilled at singing, I can work at singing really well, but that doesn't mean I'll be as good of a singer as a Beyonce or things of that nature. I just won't. I don't have that natural talent. I can be good, but I'm not going to be fantastic. I'd rather take something that I'm good or naturally great at and be exceptional, phenomenal, and at that piece. So that's important. So you got to find out, first and foremost, what you really will believe in and what will get your self-confidence to a whole new level is analyze stuff that you already do really well. Mm-hmm. There's something that you do right now really well that you're taking for granted and you don't realize it's actually a gift, and you should be enhancing and exercising that more. For me, it happened to be public speaking and being energetic. This is mostly how I've always been. I just didn't realize it was a gift until someone was like, this is what it is. And then I was like, you're right. I exercise and execute on, and I will continuously get better. That's a fact. Now, this is something that you can do right now, right after this interview, to get yourself more confident. This is what I did. You got to cut out music. Don't listen to it. I did it for a whole semester. So I'm aggressive because, again, I try to take things to the next level because I'm just crazy sometimes. Yeah, but if you don't want to do that for a whole semester, so semester was like 3-4 months, 30 days. Don't listen to Drake. Don't listen to Lil Wayne, right? Don't listen to Lizzo. Don't listen to these people just for 30 days. right? If you
God,
run into
I'm old. I don't even know half of those people.
all right, well, I don't know, like
No,
whatever you listen to, right?
I hear you
Whatever.
because I made this shift myself. I think I shared this with you about a year and a half
Yeah.
ago. I stopped listening to music in the gym, right? And I go to the gym early. I have my own, kind of crutches and cliches, for things. But it was the greatest shift I had, and I want to hear where you're going with this. But for me, it was positive, motivational influences that are going to influence me and charge me. And that was the first thing that I did to charge my day. But go on, I want to hear where you're going with it.
Yo, yeah, I'm fired up. So, and here's the thing, and all this information, I use things. I synthesize them, and I take them to the next level. That's literally how I base most of my content, how most of my life is, and most of my everything is. I synthesize it, and then I use it, and then boom, I execute on it. And then a lot of stuff is stuff that I have done myself. Hey, I'm just gonna tell you something I did, and it worked. And this worked for me. This is how I have the self-confidence. And I want to touch on self-confidence as an added thing. So keep that in mind. I want to dive deeper into that because I think sometimes people mix confidence and arrogance.
Yep.
We need to actually touch on that. So what I did is 30 days, no music, and I only listened to Eric Thomas.
All right.
Gary Vaynerchuk, Jen Rome, and then like random motivational videos I find on YouTube.
Yep.
That was literally
like
it.
60 stored in my phone right now.
That was it. I was in the car, Eric Thomas, fired up. I was studying, it was Jim Rome. I was walking somewhere, that's what it was. Now, again, don't be too anal about this and you're at a pregame and you're like, guys, I have to listen to Gary Vee. They're gonna be like, what are you doing? Like you can hear, if you hear music, you don't have to cover your ears. Like that's a byproduct of a society environment. Don't do that. I'm saying in your own time, do not listen to music. 30 days, I was just way more confident, way more poised. I could deliver things in the utmost of confidence because I was very confident in myself because that inspiration started a campfire essentially. Like I had a little fire going on, but you're just laying logs down on the campfire and it started escalating. And that's what the 30-day challenge did for me. And I will say this as well. Maybe there are sales leaders listening. Maybe you got a team. I don't doesn't matter. What I did with one rep, and I put her on this. She was not as confident. So that just not as confident, and she needed that boost of confidence. And again, I can't give you my confidence, but I know what can get you confidence. I said, hey, look, do this for me. Every morning, I'm going to send you a motivational video. Yep. It's going to be like 5, 6, 7 minutes. Just watch it. All right. You're going to think this is weird, but I guarantee if you do this for 30 days, you will be the number one on this team. I guarantee you. She's like, all right, give her a video every single day.
Boom, boom, right? Boom. All day long.
Just kept giving her videos every single day, right?
Yep.
For 30 days, boom. I was like, how you feeling? She was like, oh, that was cool. Then like 3 weeks in, she was like locked in, fired up, confident. I heard it on the phone. I heard how she handled objections. In one-on-one, she came way more prepared than she was before. At the end of the month, guess what? She was number one rep.
Wow.
See, and then the follow-up is you had that question.
Yeah.
After 30 days, I didn't send her any videos on purpose. Guess what happened? I'd walk by her computer. She did it herself.
Yep. Because people don't understand, and I mean, we may not touch on this today, but that science of like kind of what fires together, wires together with your brain, those patterns and those behaviors, right? And people don't realize that all these energies that you're absorbing, right? So, if you find that method to use as that practice, that true intention to just kind of rewire things, it'll naturally get inside of you, right? So I do the same thing where every morning, I'm really conscious with the last hour before bed, the first hour in the morning. I don't check my email. I get up early. I only listen to those positive affirmations. I start my day with my I ams. I brush my teeth just like kind of John Assaraf, the author of the Answer, co-contributor to The Secret. Like my goals are right in front of my mirror when I'm brushing my teeth, every morning, make sure that I'm grounding and wiring myself, with this true intention, right? So it's really important, to ensure that you're being conscious of the patterns that you're putting out there for you to attain the goals.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's why it's important to have mentors too, to hold yourself accountable. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Because I know one of the questions I had asked you, and it sounds like you're doing it in your mastermind group, but when I was asking you about your mentors, I was like, do you have kind of a conscious mentor, somebody that's not necessarily business development minded? And you're like, I don't, right? And it's something that, you were able to now up level that circle. Of course, be cognitive of who you're bringing in there, right? To your point, it's an interview process, right? But it's really important for people to look at that, and look at things in that nature. but you're gonna continue. I think one more topic point.
Yeah. So the self-confidence and the arrogance, that was that point there. And again, I'm guaranteed if you guys do that for 30 days, that will breed confidence. And ultimately, just as a person, and this goes into my next point here, I'm just very, very confident in myself and what I do. I genuinely believe that if I'm like, you know what, I want to go buy that bridge, I'll figure out a way to buy the bridge. Like, I'm that confident. I'll go figure it out. And we just live in a time where I don't know why you wouldn't be that confident. Because, I mean, I got this phone right here. I can go Google it. I got my TV here. I can go YouTube it. I can go figure it out.
I heard Steve Harvey.
I got Amazon books. I mean, come on, right?
Steve Harvey brought up a point recently. It was about this generation. He says, if you guys have, like you said, you have smartphones, you have the internet, you have everything connected. When I grew up, like, there was no YouTube, right? You had to like go to the library, you got to go to the card catalog. You hope the book is still there.
Right.
The concept he had was like, with the advantages to technology, we should be avid learners, right? So we need to be really conscious of what we're doing there. I want to kind of bring it back a second, because we talked a little bit about, early stages for you, finding a voice, doing childhood plays, things of that nature. For those that don't know, you were a top 5 influencer on Periscope. So you're really building that brand back in the day. Periscope obviously still isn't around. You're building your voice in front of a camera, in front of video. But you and I had talked about a pivotal moment when you were 21, when you're having a conversation with your dad, and your dad wanted to talk to you about how you deal with adversity and rejection. And not just in sales, but in life. I think for me personally, your biggest struggles, even though you never want to, kind of wish those upon anybody when you're going through them, they mold you and they build you and they create you. And some people, for me, I look at these challenges as, what am I supposed to learn from this? And what have I not mastered yet that is coming back in my life? Or what am I being tested for on something that maybe I thought I mastered? So anytime you're going through those challenges, it's a learning lesson. It's building you for something bigger. But there was a conversation you had with your father about this. I want you, maybe you can share that story and how, 2 things. One, dealing with rejection is so pivotal in how you handle it, and the impact of that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think of failure and when I think of making mistakes or constructive criticism, nobody likes that. I used to hate it. I would evade constructive criticism. Hey, Morgan, I got some feedback for you. I only want to hear the positive. I don't want to hear the negative. See ya, right? That used to be me. I'm over that now. I accept constructive criticism, because if I get constructive criticism from a training, a client, a rep, content, I'm just going to take that and find the solution. I will say that the constructive criticism that I've gotten this year has helped me elevate and bring out new programs and new platforms that I never would have if I didn't get that feedback. So I'll take it all day long. Am I looking for negative feedback? No, I'm not in a negative state, but I'll take the constructive criticism if you have it, because that will only make me better. Right? I just got to emotionally not get tied to that. Take it as it is. Okay. Appreciate that. Go in my notebook, go on my computer, figure out the answer. And then now we'll never have to handle that. We'll never have to handle that ever again. We're good. Move on. That's how I see life. Like, if it doesn't work that time, just make sure it doesn't happen again. That's like my whole premise. And so I'll take the constructive feedback all day long. Right. And so with that, there are failures and there's obstacles. And the conversation I had with my dad, he told me, I was in my room and I was editing a video. And at the time, my parents thought I was off my rocker. They were like, this guy's just in his room just making videos. Like, we don't know what this is. We don't know what's happening to our son. And I knew what was going on, but they had no idea. And I couldn't even explain it to them. I was like, you guys will figure it out soon enough. So my dad comes to my room. He's like, hey, man, I got to talk to you. He's like, hey, yeah, what's up? He's like, I don't know what got over you. I don't know what's going on, but I've never seen anyone so committed and focused on something when they get rejected over and over again. He's like, Dad, I really do believe in this. I feel like this is it. This is what's going to take our family to the next level. And this is what's going to take my life to the next level. So that was a very emotional conversation. Cause I don't know, I just never had that talk. And I just felt like I was just going through a lot of stuff in my life. And for him to come in there and be like, I've just never seen that focus on something when my whole life, I've never been really focused on that much. I want to cry about it, but it meant a lot to me. It meant a lot. It meant a lot to me, man. I just never had that much support, from my dad 100% in something when he didn't know what was going on. So that meant a lot to me. And so, from that conversation, I just knew that this was it. I knew that I had to become a public speaker. I knew that there was motive behind what I was doing. And from there, I knew the reason why I felt that way is because I did something before that's why I took the conversation to heart, is because when I believe we get failures, we get mistakes, I think we take it to heart and we're like, feel like that person's attacking us, but they're only trying to make us better for the future because they know that they have potential in us. Otherwise they wouldn't give it this constructive feedback, because sometimes when you do something, people are like, oh, you did good, because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Yeah. But I always give people real feedback because like, I believe you can do better. This is what I'm trying to give you. Right. So all my mentors do that. And I have mentors that will come at me. I mean, you've met like Kevin Dorsey, you've seen John Barrows, like they're like, yo, you like go in on me. And I'm like, all right, but I need that. I've gotten better because of them. And so what I do that most people don't do, I don't believe that I believe that every person should do this, is go find someone successful and go type in their first video or their failures and just listen to them. I listened to Kevin Hart. He's like, yeah, I got booed. What? Kevin Hart, #1 comedian in the world right now, he got booed. Right? Michael Jordan, cut from his varsity squad. Yep. Howard Schultz, Starbucks, I think rejected, 97 times? Something like that. It was like 9 or something. Some crazy number, 97 times rejected or something like that. So it's just like all these people that have massive success have been rejected. And so it's like, who am I? Like, who am I to be mad at rejection when they've got rejection and they're doing great things in the world? I even think about I think The Rock's a perfect example. Probably has
$7.
seven books, got cut. He wanted to be a football, got cut, was in the Canadian Football League, had no idea what he was about to do. And he was like, I guess I'm going to go wrestle. Now the #1 paid actor in the world, has the biggest following I've ever seen on Instagram. And would that have happened if he just was like, I want to do football and I'm going to continuously back?
And he quit on top. I love The Rock. I follow him as well and listen to a lot of his videos. And he gave a story to the Lakers, I believe, when moved to LA, and it's a video, I could send it your way, but he was just talking about the confidence of going to his father, telling him that he was going to quit professional wrestling to go acting, and his dad was like, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. But again, it's that self-belief and drive you have, and Les Brown is a motivational speaker that I follow a lot, and he gives the story of the bamboo tree. And I think it resonates, right? Because a lot of people don't realize that the bamboo tree is that it has to be nurtured for about 5 years before it actually breaks through the ground. And you have to water it, and you have to fertilize it, and you have to nurture it every day. And then, the question he asked, and obviously he speaks it in a much more poignant way, which is, in those last 5 weeks when it actually sprouts up, did it sprout up in the last 5 weeks or the first 5 years? And I think from a belief system, we all give up too soon. You don't know all that work that you're doing. Like for you, all those conversations you had, cold calling executives, to feel confident and have a conversation, now has resonated, right? So I think, all of us, you have to continue to keep trucking and keep working and have that innate confidence and belief in yourself if it's something that's truly passionate to you. I know we're running short on time here in a little bit, but one thing I know you and I spoke about was kind of what's the end goal for Morgan? Like, what are you looking to accomplish? What is the type of impact you want to make for others? And one thing you had shared with me is like you really want to be able to inspire others to find their own voice, to make decisions that maybe they didn't voice, and hear in themselves, I should say. But I'd love to hear from you, like, what is the end game? Like, what are you striving for? Where are you looking to go?
Yeah, ultimately for me, man, it's legacy. I believe everyone's inspired by multiple things, whether it's material, whether it's money, whether it's status, whether it's, hey, I just want a good family, all those things. For me, it's legacy. We, as a family, I believe we have a lot that we could be doing from an Ingram family standpoint here. And I don't think we've broken the barrier yet. And so I want to leave a legacy for everyone in my family that we can do this. My younger brothers are setting the same trend as me, just in different fields, and I'm super proud of them. But I feel like my mom and dad, if they were my age in today's age, I think they would have been actually completely different. They would have been more successful. Just back in the day, the resources and the way that things were just didn't happen, which is completely fine. So for me, the biggest thing is I just want to be able to let my parents know that the investment that they made in us was real. I remember I was just having a hard time, and I was just having a hard time in college. I was going through like a lot of personal stuff, and it was like the last semester, and I was grinding. I was out there. I was doing everything I can, and I had dropped my keys. I dropped my keys like in the river or something because I was like reading. I would normally go out like in the forest and read, and like I got up, my keys dropped, and I was like, dang it. So I had to call my mom. And she came and she was like, Morgan, you all right? And I just like, was like, yeah, I'm good. Just reading and stuff like that. And she's like, why are you doing so much? And then like, I just broke down. I was like, I just feel like you gave so much to us. I feel like I have to like have that obligation to like, you put us through college, put us in a private school. You didn't have to do that. Right. And so, man, I just broke down. My mom just had a moment and I was like, you know, all this stuff I'm doing is like for you guys. Like it really is. Like, because at the end of the day, like we just, again, my parents just did so much for us and they sacrificed that I feel like it's an obligation for like all three of us to do what we need to do. So that is always a motivation for me. And everyone says like, oh, I want to like get my parents a house and stuff. Like I really do, man. For Christmas, I gave them like a ticket voucher to go to Canada. And I was like, all right, whenever you guys want to go to Canada, like I'll pay for it. Like I couldn't do that years ago. Now I can. And so that's the reason why I'm doing it. But the reason besides that is legacy. Like I think we're all here to leave some type of legacy. I know I've been given gifts. I've been given books, mentors, guidance, situations like I told you at the airport. Like there's just stuff in my life that's happened that just doesn't make sense. I'm like, what is that? And I've been blessed and I want to make sure that I leave a legacy that other people can follow, which is why I post all the content. It's why I'm doing certain things. It's why I'm doing certain things on the weekend. It's why I have a mastermind group, like, and we're all in our 20s. There's a reason for that. I believe that truly I'm here to leave a legacy, and I've been given a gift by God, universe, whatever you believe in, to actually impact people based on what I'm learning and what I have learned. And I feel like it's an obligation. And my mentors always told me, they said, there's one way that you can always repay us. Because I was asked like, hey, at the end of every conversation, and if you do informational interviews, I encourage everybody to do this. I said, what's one way I can repay you for this conversation, right? Because I have any money. Like they have tons of money. There's no value I can really give them. And they said, hey, every single person said this.
Teach
somebody else. They're like, we're bringing you up on the elevator, but you have to press the elevator down to help other people. Like, and if you don't do that, then this conversation is a waste. And like, I would be disappointed. They all said that in their own way, but that's what they said. And so for me, I feel like there's an obligation to continuously do that, because I've been super fortunate to have notebooks of information because I was very diligent, but there's not a lot of people who have the same opportunities, maybe even drive, or just don't have the access to information like I've had. And so I want to leave that legacy as the person who I helped people along the way in their journey, whether that's directly or indirectly at the same time. And I know as we're wrapping up here, this story to me, like I was blown away at this story. So I was in the office, we were setting up, just doing a talk here actually this week about enablement, and I was going to go speak to their team. And one of the reps in the office said, hey man, what's up? You're Morgan. I was like, yeah, Morgan. He's like, I'm going to give you a story that you won't believe. He said, I used to watch your SDR Chronicles. He's an AE now. So I used to watch your SDR Chronicles when I first got into tech, and I watched your stuff. And then I actually stumbled upon you because I saw that you interviewed Keenan, and I watched that episode. And then he mentioned his book, Not Taught. And he said, I bought the Not Taught book. I use those best practices, and that's what helped me accelerate my career to get a job as an AE when I interviewed for it.
Wow.
And he's like, I credit that to you. I was like, what? I've never met this person, never had a car. Like, I was like, what in the world? He's like, yeah, the reason I'm here is because I followed you because you put out content. I found Keenan, bought Keenan's book, used the best practices. Now I have this job.
It's amazing how far
that's the stuff that I'm impacting. Yes, I care about the money. I'm not gonna say I don't. I do, because I can go do cool stuff. I can take vacations. I can provide for my family, like I just told y'all, and I can go buy cool stuff that I want to go buy. But the legacy, being the best motivator of all time, is the most important thing to me by far.
I'm going to come back to that in a second, but I want to kind of bring it back and say, for those that don't have the mentors yet, that don't have the groups, talking about how can we give back to those? Because for me, I've been a goal junkie for years, right? I have them in front of my mirror. I've had index cards in my backpacks. Everywhere I go, it's like I'm always looking to how can I get more out of myself? How can I squeeze that sponge? And some people just have challenges, right? They're focus in, like we always talk about, if your cup is empty, you can't drink out of it. So if your home life, if your relationships are challenged, you're not going to be able to make an impact at work. So how can we guide people in, and I've had this question with you, how do you stay grounded? How does Morgan J. Ingram, the brand, separate himself from Morgan? Like, how do we stay whole? So if you had one piece of advice for folks that are trying to find that innate belief within themselves, to put some, goal, accomplished goals on that list, what advice would you have for them?
So you're saying how do I stay focused on the goals, or how do I keep myself whole from Morgan and Morgan?
Not so much. I mean, I guess taking it back from maybe how you do things, but what advice would we have for others in, creating tangible goals and to accomplishing those and making sure that they're focused, not just on their careers, but on them as individuals?
Yeah. So in this, I'll bring up this notebook. This is one of my favorite notebooks right here, because this is crazy. Because actually in the first page, I wrote down what I wanted to accomplish before Joe Barrows, before I even started the SDR job. I was like, these are things I want to do. It's like YouTube, like consulting, public speaking. It's crazy because everything has happened because I wrote it on the first page. So intentions, right? And that's where I'm going. Write down your goals. Don't say, I'm going to go do this, whatever. It won't happen. Like in front of me, you guys can't see it, but I have what I want to accomplish for the quarter, what deals I'm working on that I want to close. Like it's in front of my face. And so I'm intentionally like bringing that up. Like I got this goal up here, 70. I'm looking to do 70 on-site trainings for the year. And there's a Maserati right behind it, because if I hit the 70 goals, I can go get a Maserati. And based on my trajectory right now, I actually will hit my goals because I've had it in front of me. Even when times were bleak, where I was like, and I'm making a video about it later at the end of this year, I was struggling. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I don't know if I can I was doubting myself. I had those doubts because I've never done it before. But then I look at that and I'm like, all right, like focus. What do we need to do? Let's go reach out to people. Let's go on YouTube. Let me go talk to somebody. Let me go interview people who are enterprise account executives. Like I'm going to figure this out. And that's how I've always been. I'm going to keep down and figure this out. And so my whole thing is you have to write down goals for success. And so how I do it is I do them quarterly and monthly. So with my if you don't have a mastermind, it's fine. You can get a group of friends. You can do it with your boss. I don't care who it is, but you need to have someone who at least holds you accountable. It could be your mom and dad. Doesn't matter.
Nothing wrong with that. And one thing I'll add on goals before you keep going is it's really important. One trick that I've heard is not just to write them down, which is very important, but it's to actually visualize the effect of attaining those goals. And that visualization is really important, whether it is, looking at your goals that might be on your wall, closing your eyes and visualizing them, whatever that means. A lot of folks really are talking about meditation now, but that visualization approach to your goals really is going to enhance your ability to drive things forward.
Absolutely. And so every single morning, that's a great point. Every single morning, I look at my quarterly goals. And I'm like, all right, this is what it is. Visualize it. How do I do this? How do I manifest it? Go execute. And I'm about to actually tell you all something else on how I did this as of 2 months ago. It's changed my entire life. This tip, I guarantee if any of y'all do this, it guarantee you your whole mindset, your execution will change. It's drastically changed a lot of stuff for me. I'm excited to share it because I heard it on a podcast and I've been following some guy for a while and he kept saying, do this, do this, do this. And I was like, that sounds silly. I did it and I was like, holy, change the game. And I'm about to break it down to you guys. So first of all, monthly and quarterly goals. You have to separate them into 3 categories: professional, personal, and finance. When you think about it, like that's what life is separated to. Your personal, your relationships with your friends, your relationship with your significant other, your family, whatever. Professional is your career. Like, what are you doing? And then financial, like, are you making money, right? Where's your income? How are you saving it? How are you investing? How are you making sure that you're donating, right? The 4 stages of money, which is save, invest, donate, also spend. So those are 4 things you're doing with money. So you know how you're allocating that or you're going to be lost. So I separate those every single quarter and month by those things. And I do 5, 5, 5. Sometimes I do 10, 10, 10, which I did this quarter because it's the last one. But normally I do 5, 5, 5. So 5 professional goals, 5 personal goals, and 5 financial goals. And I stay to that. And how I track it is if I hit it, check mark. If I don't, I'll move that to the next month. If I don't hit it that quarter, I move it to the next quarter. If I don't hit it again the next quarter, that means it's either a way too aggressive goal or I'm being lazy.
Is there a pillar on top of each one of those goals that is like the true North Star, the intention, the why behind that goal, so you can really spark on something that isn't a thing? Does that make sense?
You're saying like a motive, like a theme?
Yeah. So for me, when I look at goals personally, one thing I do is, I kind of follow Lencioni's, key results model, right? Where I'll have tangible things where I can look at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, did I do the X number of things, X number of times to reach this goal, right? Yeah. But then on the very top, I have a pillar, which is kind of like the foundation of my intention in doing that, right? So if it's for me, if it's for my family, I'm looking at, am I influencing and providing in a positive nature where I can influence my family to do great things within themselves.
Right.
Okay. And underneath those, I would have kind of tangible, income, so on and so forth. Right.
I don't have any sub themes that I write with them, to be completely honest with you. I know why I'm stating those goals for myself. I'm like, all right, I'm earning X amount because I did a new project such that helped me earn X amount. Or, hey, I need to be more intentional with my mom and dad because, all right, I haven't hung out with them in 3 months. I've been gone, like stuff like that. So in my head, I know why I'm doing it, but I don't write it down.
You gotta write it down.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to talk to you offline on the sub themes. I normally don't do sub themes. I just write the goals down because I know, hey, this is what I want to focus on. I don't do the sub themes. Okay. So that's one thing we can talk offline about because I actually am curious in that. And the last piece is, all right, so this is the tip, y'all. I'm telling you, if you do this, this changed the game for me. I'm like so excited to share this because I gave it to my friend and like he's going wild right now. Like he's hitting goals left and right. He's a changed person. So we both did it to test it out and we're both just murdering. Like he's just all over the place. Like he's in LA right now. I'm just really happy for him because he's just doing a lot of cool stuff. So in this, right here at the screenshot, I mean, I don't know if it's video or not, but you can see it says like, I'm happy and grateful that I am.
Okay.
And so what you do is you can type it on whatever notes, whatever. And I just have a black screen and it just says, I'm happy and grateful that I hit my revenue target for this year. I'm happy and grateful that I'm able to attract meaningful relationships. And so I wrote this out because you're stating future state. I'm happy and grateful that I'm already doing this. And so I just have 4 goals like written down on my screen. I'm happy and grateful that I am whatever that is. And ever since, I wrote this 4 months ago or 2 months ago, game changer. Opportunities have manifested off of what I wrote. So, hey, I'm happy and grateful that it's happening. It's already done because I wrote it down. And now I'm just executing within that. So it's super cool because when I wrote it down, it just like snap, things just change. And I would encourage everyone to think about things that you want to be happy and grateful for. And write those out and put them on your phone because whatever you see on your phone is what you see obviously every single day. And that sets your subconscious and your success mechanism in that.
You're touching, man, 100% on quantum physics right there, right? The belief as if it's already occurred and putting that out there, right? So that's awesome, man. Because I use IMs in the morning. But I, even though I do have a visualization process of believing it before it happened, I'm not documenting in that nature. Right. So I'm gonna try that, and I'm gonna tell you what happens. Yeah,
so. Let me know. It's like the first week you're like, okay, this is cool, but like a month in, I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
You shared a little while ago about reaching out to people that you cared about, friends, previous relationships, family, and saying, tell me something. I think a mentor of yours shared this on something that they love about you and something that they don't like about you, right? And my question to you on this, which I think is a great approach, for those of you that don't know, Morgan had spoke recently about a tip, and I want to say it was on the Seamless, podcast with Brendan, where he talks about, some advice that a mentor gave him, and it was asking people one thing they like about you and one thing that maybe they don't like about you. I think the word was hate about you, right?
It's not fun.
You took it to and the thing that really stood out to me is a lot of folks aren't looking at things from a personal basis, and you did, which I thought was awesome. My question to you was, did you continue to do that quarterly or annually as you reevaluate your goals?
That is a great, fantastic question. Quarterly, no. I haven't. Annually, I haven't done it consistently, to be honest with you. Last time I did it was 2 years ago.
Okay. And obviously you're not going to go back to every previous relationship every year and say, what did you hate about me? What did you hate about me? So
the mastermind this year, I would say that's what it is for me. Okay. That's my accountability. I haven't done that with like my inner circle friends, sit them down and be like, hey, what do you really like? What do you hate? I did that in college multiple times. I did it after college, but I haven't done that as like an exercise where I'm like, hey, tell me this specifically. I haven't done that, but I have done is the mastermind, which is essentially that. So in lieu, that's the replacement of it. But that exercise is tough. Not a lot of people will go do that. It's not fun, but it helped me out a ton.
Great. Well, Morgan, man, this has been awesome. I can't thank you enough for like taking the time to come on. For those that haven't looked you up before, go online, go to YouTube, check out SDR Chronicles. He's pretty much everywhere in the inside sales space, continues to be recognized by AAISP, by Outbound, by all sorts of conferences. But the innate ability you have to believe in something, to be a pioneer and building a brand and constantly up-leveling yourself, taking criticism to grow, even though it's not something you like, definitely check him out. Morgan, appreciate you coming on. Look forward to connecting soon. Thanks.
Absolutely, man.
Everybody.
Thanks for having me.